Welcome to the BobbleOn podcast,
where we're committed to providing practical advice and strategies to increase your revenue, unify your team, and create accountability throughout your organization.
Let's go.
All right. So this is conference season.
Yes.
This is conference season, and today we're excited because we'll be traveling tomorrow out to San Diego to the IAOA conference out in San Diego. It's an acronym. But we love the group.
Yeah.
We love 1,000 people that are going to go, and this kind of kicks off the conference season, which is typically the first quarter of the year. You see a lot of conferences across the country.
Absolutely. Great time to do conferences, and I can predict one thing that will happen in the next week or two is Matt will approach me and be like, I'm just not eating healthy lately. That will happen in the next week or two. And it is true. We're really excited about the two conferences we got back to back, but we are going to be talking to you guys about pretty much the do's and don'ts, like the rules that we have when you go to conferences, what you got to do and what you shouldn't do. And it's pretty simpler. Spoiler alert, we're not going to be talking about drinking. If you want to drink at a conference, have at it.
That's all I prepared to talk about today, so you're going to have to run with this one. But
yeah.
Well, we've been to a lot of these conferences. You know, we've attended a lot as attendees, as guests. We've come as speakers and hosts. We've done a lot of different things, and I think we've made a lot of mistakes, and walked away saying that was a lot of fun. We enjoyed the time, but we didn't get enough value out of it. We thought we could have done different things differently and gotten more value, and that's what we're going to share today.
I love it.
But first,
personal best.
So
a lot of good personal moments last week, but for me personally, as I develop my hobbies and what I like to do, I'm getting a little bit more anti-cold weather. So anytime that we have snow, I'm trying to figure out a way that I can actually enjoy it without just complaining about the fact that it's cold. And this weekend was one of those because we got snow, but it was really fun snow to play in with kids. Like, it was perfect snowball snow. So best moment of the week was this weekend, me, KG, Kenzie, our dog, Emma and Mason went just for like a hike, a little like walk in the woods behind our yard. And it was a ton of fun. We were like, Mason was trying to track where the foxes were back there by like using the tracks, and Kenzie was out there. And we actually just had a ton of fun. We had a little snowball fight.
That's cool.
It was cool. Because it was like the 40-degree day after the snow, which is my favorite kind of weather.
Yeah.
It's like, you can be
was
outside.
it sunny?
Beautiful sunny, great snowball snow. And Kenzie turned 9.
That's nuts.
9 years old. I have a dog that's 9 years old. That's
nuts.
Oh, weird.
That's nuts.
Sorry, Kens, you didn't make the personal best.
So, well, she kind of did. So, the question, did Mason find any of the animals that left the tracks?
No. But what was interesting is KG on Monday morning was like, hey, did you hear about the coyotes in Southborough? It's like, no. She showed me these pictures of the coyotes that are like, they were taking pictures of in Southborough. They're massive. So I didn't want to find them. I didn't want to find them. They're like way bigger than Kenzie.
Yeah.
Coyotes are no joke. Foxes, not a big deal. Coyotes are a problem.
Yeah.
They hunt in packs.
Yeah, and they're scary looking.
Yeah, they look like wolves.
Yeah. They've got to be some relative to it, like a cousin or, I don't know, a distant relative of sorts.
Yeah, you're like that cousin you don't want to know. So, yeah, happy we didn't find any animals.
It'd be funny if Mason was just walking around following Kenzie's tracks.
Pretty much.
Dog's like 10 feet in front of him.
There's a lot of that.
Oh, there's some more. They look fresh.
It was interesting, though, because one of Emma's, obviously you're on a book kick with Parker this year. One of Emma's favorite books is a book called We're Going on a Bear Hunt. And so she's out there like, we're going on a bear hunt. And Mason would constantly turn around and was like, there's no bears out here. And she kept on being like, we're going on a bear hunt. And it was just seeing them like get upset with each other the whole time. I was like, kind of hope we find a bear. It'd be funny. Just prove Mason wrong. Anyways, what's your personal best? What you got?
Yeah, so last week, you and KG came into Boston. Although Parker was sick and has been sick and got both Sadie and I sick, which was awesome.
Perhaps me.
Perhaps you. And maybe it happened that night. I don't know. We'll see. The world may never know. So we still stuck to the plans of going out and celebrating the 10-year anniversary of GNN. and you guys were awesome coming in. Parker hung in there.
Yeah, he was
and,
great.
We hoped that he would, he did, and he was fine. And KG definitely did hold him for a lot of the time, so it could have been spread that way, but we just didn't know.
Yeah.
We'll have to test the virus. That's the only way to know. But that was really fun. That was a fun dinner. It's not something you and I do very often.
No.
Typically, if we have family time or time with our significant others, it's separate. We can have them together and just talk about the last 10 years. My favorite moment was when she asked about memories, like 10 memories from the last 10 years. And we kind of went back and forth coming up with really funny but also painful, challenging moments that really stood out in the last 10 years. And it was funny because like 8 of the 10 happened in the first 2 years.
I know.
Not to say that those weren't big moments in the last 5 or 6, but those were the challenging years.
You really don't think about the first 2 or 3 years very often. And it is funny. A lot of the people I listen to via podcast and YouTube clips or whatever it may be, they talk about how the influencers out there who talk to you about what they do now actually isn't very helpful. The influencers out there who talk about where they were and what they did to get started, because you don't really hear about the first 1,000 clients.
No.
You hear about like what we're doing now and why it's so important.
Yeah.
And when you and I talk about BobbleOn in here, we can't do that.
Right.
It's not very helpful.
Right.
You gotta help stop right then. So when KG asked, that was really interesting because you and I went way back.
Yeah.
To when it was.
I mean, a lot of the first clients are definitely not the niche that we have now, and
nor are they here.
The hiring process, there was no process. We didn't know how to spell process, let alone have one. Mm-mm. And the hiring process was like, you have a pulse, you have interest, you're not employed by anyone else, okay, we'll take you.
Yes.
And that resulted, obviously, in a lot of failure, who we hired and why we hired them and what we asked them to do. But like we hired one person who, the day before she came on the team, she was arrested, and she lied about coming. She couldn't come in the next day. She called in sick, and we find out 3 or 4 months later there was a search warrant out for her the night before. Like, you can't write this.
And she was my best friend. No, I'm kidding.
That was your aunt. Your aunt out of everybody.
No, you're right.
And that was one out of many stories.
Well, I think the problem was, to your point, I don't know if we turned down anyone.
No, we didn't.
I think we had the interview and we're like, this is so awesome you're here. Clearly you're going to be joining.
We needed help 3 months ago.
Yeah.
We're so happy you took the interview.
Yeah.
You haven't said anything yet in the interview because we've been talking about why you should join. Will you join? That was how it basically went.
We had a pretty much 100% hire rate.
Yeah. We were very good at selling people on why they should work for us.
Yeah, we were always closers.
Yeah. Anyways, that was a fun dinner, and I think anyone who celebrates big anniversaries should look back and remember the moments that were challenging and painful, because a lot of times that's where growth happened right afterwards.
Amen. I think that's one of the first times like we drank white wine together. We're typically red wine guys or some type of tequila or scotch. So white wine was interesting.
It was a big seafood spot.
True.
So white wine was appropriate. Plus we were preparing the immune systems to get both sick.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So conference season.
Yes.
Yeah. So this is a fun couple months of travel, learning, growing, etc., collaborating with people inside the insurance industry. And like we said in the beginning, we just want to give some tips on what to do, what not to do. And this will air on Monday, so after the conference that we're going to. And so probably next week we'll do a little bit of recap on how it went.
Yeah, what we learned. And if we actually followed through with what we said today. Which we will. But, people decide to go to conferences for all sorts of reasons, and every conference has a different angle. IAOA, the one we're going, is only for insurance agency owners, which is really, really cool concept. It really keeps the attendance very vertical in that niche. Doesn't have like a lot of people, a lot of other vendors. It doesn't include a lot of salespeople or service people. It's just really owners, and so the relatability factor is really high,
off the charts.
And then there's other conferences that are more about innovation and technology. There's others that are more just about anyone in the insurance industry can come, and typically that'll be larger conferences. But the reason we like IAOA is because it's only agency owners.
Yeah,
and
that relates back to like one of the what not to do's, and one of the what not to do's is like, just because you know somebody going to a conference, just blindly going. And doing a little bit of research and understanding, this is time. You can't get this time back.
Right.
And you don't want to go begrudgingly to some place that's an all-day event. We've done this so many times in the past where we felt it was for the insurance industry, therefore we are going.
Right.
And not even really looking at what's going on. Just, we are going, we're going to be there. And then when we, like the day before, we're like, why are we even going? Why are we even doing this?
Yeah.
That's such a don't. Don't do that.
It has to, you have to see clearly a way for it to improve your operation and your business. We talked about this early on when we were networking with realtors and attorneys and lenders every day, every week. We would be at every conference event, every event hosted by realtors, every hosted by lenders or whatever. And there'd always be these realtors, like hundreds of realtors there. And we'd always question, like, why are all the realtors at realtor-based events? They're not going to get business from each other. Like, they're just going to attend because it's a realtor event. And it's the same thing not to do in the insurance space. Just because you're an insurance agent, you're invited, doesn't mean you should go.
Amen.
You have to know what you're going to get from it.
Yeah, like there's some big association events, which there's some heavy value in those association events. We're not here saying don't go to an association event. But should you be going is the question. Or should someone from your agency be going? Is it specifically geared towards you? Heaven forbid you get there and you find out it's just like not really geared towards ownership. It's more geared towards what the state is doing on your behalf.
Yeah.
Is that knowledge you want to obtain? Is like the first don't.
And just like we talked about this 6 or 7 episodes ago, when we talked about, maybe even more than that, I don't know, it's all a blur at this point. But we talked about, when you're going to a referral partner meeting for the first time, understand the very first step is what's a win.
Yep.
What is going to make this meeting a win? It's the same thing. There's no different. You need to declare that. If you can't answer that question, what's going to make it a win? You shouldn't go.
Should not be there. Yeah, so we've done that many times in the past. We've spoken at events where we were like, I don't even know why I'm speaking here. So yeah, we really protect our time while being open to new ideas. So that's the first don't is your time. Take a look ahead of time.
Yeah.
Should you be there?
I think another don't that just stands out, things that we may have either witnessed or did incorrectly, is not taking advantage of the activities and the events that are surrounding that conference. And so if you're just going for the day of maybe workshops or day of speaking arrangements, but you skip out on a lot of the other peripheral stuff, you're missing the time when you can bond and connect with agency owners or people in the industry that you want to talk to in a different capacity, in a different environment.
Sure.
Whether it's a golf event, whether it's a harbor cruise, whatever it might be, typically these conferences have other peripheral things going on. And it's interesting time to connect with people because they're not running from speech to speech or from workshop to workshop. They're a captive audience and they're actually interested in talking and connecting.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I think they're relatable point 1 and point 2 there, because if I really don't want to go for a conference, I'm certainly not going to want to go to the peripheries because I'll be like, I don't even want to spend time there. So if it's extra time we're talking about, like after, before, I really don't want to go. So like the tip over there is just analyze yourself. Like if you want to be there, well then what's the extra couple hours? What does it really matter? If you don't want to do the extra couple hours, do you even want to be there at all? Because you're right, people don't really have a lot of time during the conference to meet.
Yeah, good point. So there's definitely some don'ts, and if anything else pops up, we should throw it out. But there's definitely some do's, and this is stuff that we either didn't do correctly or did do, and then look back and say, wow, like I'm glad we did that. I'm glad we walked away with that. And one of them is ahead of time planning and preparing to know what topic you're going to want to go listen to. Because there's a lot of speakers that speak. A lot of times they're going at the same time and you have to choose. And if you wait until the day of or the day before to look and say like, oh wow, there's 74 speakers and they're talking about 36 different things, which one should I go to? You probably won't pick the right one.
Amen.
So knowing ahead of time which topics are going to be spoken about or spoken to, and then deciding this is the one that's for me. I'm having pain in the referral generation space. I need to go listen to somebody who's going to talk about that. Or I need to work on my technology stack. I need to go listen to somebody who's going to talk about technology or outsourcing or whatever it might be. But if you don't do that ahead of time, you probably could miss out on a good topic.
I like that word technology stack of everything you just said, because 1 week ago you would have never said that. Shout out Ryan Hanley.
Yeah.
Big technology stack guy.
It's funny. You read something and all of a sudden you just pull it.
Yeah, I love that.
Send it out.
Technology stack. That's a good one though. Well, I wish we did that earlier on. But to your point, it's a great point. It's analyzing the list of people speaking, understanding where values add. And sometimes if you're going to a big enough speaker, you can actually see one of their presentations before and take a look at how they speak, what they talk about, what their background is. Because if they don't have similar struggles with you, or they're not going on a similar path, or have solved a problem have problem solving, why go?
Yeah.
Well, you don't need motivate. Conferences that are based on motivation are conferences I will not attend.
Yeah.
It's not worth my time.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah, so
You go on YouTube and get motivated.
yeah. Or just have a cup of coffee.
And that brings up a really good peripheral or secondary thing to do is identify your pain, like identify the issues you're having in your agency or in your environment and locally, and figure out what kind of questions can I ask of other people to help me solve these pain points, to help me solve these issues. And then identify who you can go talk to ahead of time. Like, this conference we're about to go to, there's 900 agency owners. There might be 4 or 5 that we say, hey, you know what? They have mastered this component of the business. We're interested in talking to them about that. We're feeling this amount of pain. Let's identify the specific questions we want to ask so that we can go out and ask them and set that up ahead of time.
Setting up ahead of time is the most beautiful part. It's like you could DM that person, text, call, preferably text, email, or DM or some sort. Just be like, hey, are you talking about this at XYZ time? Is this an issue you're going to tackle? There is nothing better than speaking at an event and having someone reach out ahead of time and be like, it'd be cool if you talked about this. Super cool, because you have 1 or 2 options as a speaker. 1, you can reply, yes, I am. I'm excited for you to be there. Or 2, no, I'm not. Let's set up a meeting and talk about it. And you can set up, so getting direct with some of the speakers is cool. The conference we're actually going to, one of these speakers is chatting about how to beat Geico. And it was interesting. He actually booked a call with you and I to chat about, like, hey, here's what I'm going to be talking about when we beat Geico in the market. What do you think about that? And that was just so cool because we're like honing it together. And now that he teased it, I can't wait to go see it. I'm interested because Geico's fantastic. We have so much respect for them. And he used to work at Geico. So it's going to be a really interesting talk. I'm excited by that one.
Yeah.
It'll be fun.
Too.
Yeah.
Me too. He's going to be dynamic.
Yeah. He's got a great beard too.
Yeah. All right. So we've touched on identifying the topic ahead of time that you really want to listen to, and making sure that you're planning ahead of time to make sure you're going to be going to those events.
Yep.
Identifying the specific individuals you want to go talk to. Maybe they're speaking, maybe they're attending, but you've already identified them ahead of time and said, here's some questions I have prepared ahead of time. And when I get there, and reaching out ahead of time and to scheduling time for them, and when I get there, we'll get them answered. And the third thing is, this is like next level, but we've really enjoyed doing this the last few years, is setting up a group dinner. And you brought this up beforehand, but setting up a group dinner with 10 to 12 people, in our case, agency owners that we really want to spend time with and have quality time with it. You can do separate from the events and separate from the peripherals.
Yeah, and this came to you and I because of, again, a failure. Let's talk about the failure first. The failure is like, you're at this conference, you got a ton of people that all like each other, want to hang out after, and they're like, all of a sudden you have like hey, we have a reservation for 40. Can anyone take us? And all the restaurants are like, you kidding me?
Yeah.
Like, this is a major metropolis. Like, you should have called in advance.
Yeah.
Like, you want a restaurant at the hottest place in the area for 40 people? Like, the answer is no. So we have set up ahead of time, like, these are some people in the industry I'm just curious about, I'm interested in learning from. Hopefully a couple people you don't know. Always bring one. Set it up ahead of time. And for those booking it, if you have 10 confirmed, just book it for 20. Yeah. Book it for 18, 16, book it ahead. Yeah. We have so much fun at these things.
Yeah, I think it's the opportunity to get deep with people that you might only see once a year, that you value their friendship, and you maybe connect with them on social all the time, DM and talk, but it might be across the country and you don't see them very often. So it's the time to get close with those people.
Yeah.
Or build a stronger relationship with someone that you've wanted to for a while.
Yeah.
But those are definitely the 3 things that stand out. It's identifying the topic ahead of time, identifying who you want to speak to and the questions you want to ask, and then trying to set up a dinner with those that you want to connect with.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that just comes to mind as we're talking more of like a tip of conference attending. So we're clearly heavily gearing this towards insurance conferences, but there's also the peripheral, I'm just really interested in learning. Clearly you and I have done that a lot. And something that I've done in the past is, if there is a speaker that I really want to see, I really want to know about, we've done the research, I know this person's in town and speaking at this event. If the event is like $300 and you purchase your ticket or what have you, or you work with your carrier to purchase it for you, you don't have to go the whole day. You don't have to sit there the whole day, and if you don't like the speakers. just go for like 2 or 3 speakers that you actually want to hear from. Do the research ahead, like you said. Go for the 2 or 3 speakers. Don't feel guilty that you don't make back-to-back speeches. You and I know that's actually not how you learn. It's very difficult to switch your brain that fast onto that many different topics and stay interested. Go for 2 or 3 speakers, have a coffee, get out of there. That's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
You know?
Really good advice.
Yeah, it's kind of like you and I hear fitness gurus all the time say, just because you got served this whole plate of food doesn't mean you have to eat the whole plate of food. That's how they prepare it. They put it in front of you. You eat till you're full.
But it's so tasty. Sometimes it's hard not to.
No, you're right. You're right. But I spent $300 on a conference. It's so hard not to go.
Yeah.
But you're right.
Yeah.
Get it to go.
Yeah, you're right. You could take it to go and then eat another meal down the road, like a midnight snack or something. But I'm also really excited because, the last 5 or 6 conferences we've gone to, we've spoken at, which has been really fun. But it adds a level of pressure and stress and anxiety that is all healthy, but it requires you to focus more on the material that you are cascading, that you're presenting, opposed to really focusing. I think this one is going to be a lot of fun for us because we're going to be able to go really engage, really ask a lot of good questions, and just watch. Go to the speakers we really enjoy. And we have 2 or 3 BobbleOn clients that are speaking this year, which is really, really cool. We're able to root them on and cheer them on, maybe where...
Yeah, Billy's speaking, right?
Yeah.
I'm excited for him.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of good people there. Yeah, so pumped. This is going to air on Monday. It's going to be post-conference. We will have a little bit of a recap about maybe some takeaways, some tips we learned, some things we did, probably some goofy stories.
I hope so. So next week, we'll have to come up with a really good summary. Maybe like a good takeaway, a failure, a funny goof or story, maybe even a picture or 2, a video. I don't know. We'll see what comes from it. But then we're headed to Florida for another conference right after. So we'll have a lot of material to talk about.
A ton of material. Well, thank you. Excited. To those in IAOA, pumped to see you.
Kick butt. See you soon. BobbleOn.
BobbleOn!